Shalom, I'm Rami Salam El, and I thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be correcting the misunderstandings of a Captain Tazaryach, a representative of the ISUPK group. We're going to be correcting his misunderstandings about Islam, Arabs, the Quran, Muslims, and so-called black people, which we know today are Moors. First, I'm going to play the footage of him speaking in the public, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dissect and analyze his statements.
If he was black, what the hell do we have to do with the Arabs? What does black people have in common with Arabs that we're going to read a Quran which goes after the Bible, which tries its best to piggyback off the Bible and say that it's of God when the Quran is trash? Give me that comic book, please. Let me get the comic book. Let me show you what the comic book is good for, because my feet hurt. My feet hurt, so let me show you what the Quran is good for. It's a good step stool. You got the scripture for me, y'all? You got the scripture for me? This is what the Quran is good for. This right here. That's it. To be stepped on. That's all the Quran is good for. I step on it all day. Read the scripture for me, y'all.
All right. Some pretty interesting comments. First up, what the hell does black people have to do with Arabs? Well, what is an Arab? Right here we have the American Heritage Dictionary, second edition. I ask that you pick up an unabridged dictionary. This is just a basic one. The unabridged gives you much more information about the words that you're looking up. It deals with etymology. That's the science that teaches you the history and the root of words. But for this right now, just a simple definition is good enough. Arab, a noun, a native or inhabitant of Arabia. Number 2, any of the Semitic people originally from Arabia, but later widely scattered throughout the Near East, North Africa, and Arabian Peninsula. Okay. Another key thing we would need to know is, where is Arabia? All right. Now, having heard the definition and seen a map to know where Arabia is, we can safely conclude that the thing that black people, so-called black people, have in common with Arabs is that we're one and the same people. But I don't want you to just believe me. Here's some footage of some native Arabians. Jamming, huh? Yeah, I know. But now we must address some of the more disrespectful comments and actions of Brother Tazaryach. In the video that you saw, he literally threw the Quran down on the ground and stood on it and said that it was nothing, it was good for nothing but being used as a step stool, and even referred to it as a comic book. Just want to put on for the record that the Quran and Islam is followed by over 1.6 billion people on this earth. Let me repeat that. Islam and the Holy Quran, this is the one I have, is respected and honored, and it's the faith of over 1.6 billion people. So on a common sense level, brother, why would you disrespect a book like that? Why would you disrespect over a billion people's faith in that way? Is that what Yahshua would have done? Furthermore, in this holy book, Yahshua, or Jesus, in this book he's referred to as Isa ibn Maryam, he's in 93 verses. So those verses are not good for anything. Followers of Christ or followers of Yahshua, Jesus, it wouldn't be a benefit for them to know and learn and study what's being said in this holy book about Jesus? Does that make sense? Furthermore, all right, and I don't want you to think that this is only about the religious text. So let's take it outside of that for a moment. Let's look at the autobiography of Malcolm X, also known as El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. First, we're going to go to page 347. We're going to read, America needs to understand Islam because this is the one religion that erases from its society the race problem. Throughout my travels in the Muslim world, I have met, talked to, and even eaten with people who in America would have been considered white. But the white attitude was removed from their minds by the religion of Islam. I have never before seen sincere and true brotherhood practiced by all colors together, irrespective of their color. You may be shocked by these words coming from me, but on this pilgrimage, what I have seen and experienced has forced me to rearrange much of my thought patterns previously held and to toss aside some of my previous conclusions. This was not too difficult for me. Despite my firm convictions, I have been always a man who tries to face facts and to accept the reality of life as new experience and new knowledge unfolds it. I have always kept an open mind, which is necessary to the flexibility that must go hand in hand with every form of intelligent search for truth. Then I'm going to read one more short passage from page 371. And I had known too that Negroes would not rush to follow me into the Orthodox Islam, which had given me the insight and perspective to see that the black man and white man truly could be brothers. Listen close. I had known too that Negroes would not rush to follow me into the Orthodox Islam, which had given me the insight and perspective to see that the black man and white man could be brothers. Islam is good for nothing? Not according to El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. And if you were to ask me which movement would I follow, the teachings of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz or Malcolm X or the ISUPK, judging based on the works put forth, the spirit, the righteousness of the individuals, I think the answer is clear. Islam. Thank you. Before I forget, he also stated that Islam is idol worship. Well, let's go directly to the source. First, we're going to go to the Quran. We're going to go to Surah or chapter 29. We're going to go to line 17. We sent Abraham to his people, and he said to them, worship Allah and be mindful of your duty to him. That is better for you if you were to understand. You worship idols beside Allah and fabricate lies in the matter of religion. Those whom you worship beside Allah have no power to provide sustenance for you. Then seek your sustenance from Allah and worship Him and be grateful to Him. Unto Him will you be brought back. No idol worship in that book. But we're also going to visit the Quran brought by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because he also speaks about it. Chapter 8, line 21. And the chapter is entitled, Jesus Reveals to the People Their Sinful Ways. Interesting. Line 21 reads, tear down your idols. They can hear you not. Turn all your sacrificial altars into fuel for the flames. And then line 24, just so you don't get confused and think that you're supposed to worship Jesus. I am your brother man, just come to show you the way to Allah. You shall not worship man, praise Allah, the Holy One. No idol worship. So the next issue we're going to address is a little more subtle. So I'm going to play the clip and then we're going to come back, analyze.
This right here, this is what, now, this nature knows no color lines, but they tell you about the Dark Ages. They tell you that the Dark Ages was a horrible time in history. But what the Dark Ages represented was a time when black people ruled Europe. Was a time when black people was in power. And at that time...
Now you see, here's the thing with calling ourselves black versus calling ourselves Moors. When we're talking with ourselves, especially like in our houses or in our private capacities when we're with family, and we both understand who we're speaking about, it doesn't matter if we say black, or it does, but we understand. But when you're teaching, when you're giving information to people, when you're speaking about historical facts, then it matters. And it would be one thing if Brother Tazaryach was speaking out of ignorance. That's okay. We are all ignorant. We all have to learn, educate ourselves, grow. It's another thing when it's done with the intent to mislead people. When it's done specifically to hide the truth of the people that are being called black today. And how do I know that's being done? Well, on his own presentation board, he has an image of Noble Drew Ali. To have an image of Noble Drew Ali on your presentation board, it's clear that you are conscious and aware, because you had to search for the image, you had to print it out, you had to paste it on your board. I would think that a person such as yourself would not be careless enough to just print out any picture of any person and put it on the board. It was for a specific reason. And if you study any of the works of Noble Drew Ali, he clearly states that we are not blacks, we are not Negroes or coloreds, we are Moors. And knowing that fact, you cannot, you will not play around with describing our people as black, because you know what comes with that, don't you? So what other option is there? If it wasn't out of ignorance, then why was it done? Lastly, let's address this clip of him referring to Muslims as terrorists and his explanation on why he knows they are terrorists. Roll the clip.
Terrorist group, they calling the Muslims a terrorist group. That's what you're saying. That's your premise, right? Now, let's look at what a terrorist does. A terrorist terrorizes. That's what they do. All we doing is speaking. All we doing is telling people to change their life, to stop killing. If you don't stop killing, if you don't stop robbing, if you don't get out that Islam, I'm not going to kill you for it. But the Muslims will kill you. The Muslims will cut your goddamn head off. How do I know? I watched the videos. I seen a plane fly into a building. That's how I know they goddamn terrorists.
So let me get this straight. The proof that you have that Muslims will cut your head off, that will kill you, is you seeing it on TV, you seeing a video of it, and you seeing a plane fly into a building. This is your proof. And you're speaking of 1.6 billion people. And this is the proof that you're going on? It's pretty sad, brother. But let me in conclusion, I hope that I have cleared up some of the misunderstandings from the brother Captain Tazaryach and the ISUPK group. If you would like more information, you can go to www.iamhhtemple.org. That is iamhhtemple.org. You can also go to rvbaypublications.com, rvbeypublications.com. There's plenty of information and references that you can look into further, to find out the information for yourself. Because as a wise man once taught, man knows not by being told. And with that, I say peace. Much love to you.